This is absolutely a name that I would definitely use because I'm all about having names that are powerful and have powerful meanings behind them. One of the main characters' name was Colleen. I might be dating myself a little bit with that, but hello lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another baby names video that I love and might use. I'm not pregnant, disclaimer. I have a baby that is 2 months old. I better not be pregnant, but as much as I want other kids, I need a break right now. If you are new to my channel, hi and welcome. My name is Brittany Garcia and I do a lot of content on this channel that has to do anything with motherhood, homemaking, birth, interior design. It's kind of like a mishmash of everything that I love in my life, but I hope that you love it too, and that if you're here for the ride, welcome to the fam. And without further ado, let's get into all of these beautiful baby names that I've picked out for you today. I just have a running list in my phone currently of different baby names, and I love making these videos. I've made 2 so far and you guys seem to enjoy them as well, so I figured I could do another one and I can share with you some of the vintage baby names that I have on my list. I feel like vintage stuff is kind of coming back in style, which I love, especially with home decor and things like that, but I also feel it's popping up in other things as well, such as clothing and hairstyles, and it's just kind of a part of the culture right now, and I think it's relevant to look at baby names that are vintage as well. So these are all going to be girl names. I have them on my phone like I mentioned, but I went ahead and wrote them out because I like to include the definitions of names. I'm a huge proponent for picking baby names and picking names for our children that have great meanings, and that are strong, suitable names for our kids, because there's been names that I've loved the way that they sound, or loved like a character that has had that name, and then I go and look at the meaning of the name and it's not at all something that I would name my kid. And so because of that, I always love to look up names, look at the strengths of the name, and the origins of the name as well, and see what the meaning of the names are. So if you're into that kind of thing, then let's get right into the video. Okay, the first name on my list is Mabel. Mabel is so pretty. It reminds me of, obviously, of the trees, maple trees, and I absolutely love maple trees. They're like my favorite foliage, especially in the fall time, but they're just such a pretty tree. I love the leaves on them, and it reminds me of that. Obviously it's not the same. It has origins in Latin and it's from the English language, and it means lovable and dear, and I just think that's so endearing. I love the name Mabel and I would definitely use it in the future. The next name on my list is Elsie. Elsie is actually derivative of the name Elisheba from the Hebrew. There was a pet name in Scottish that had to do with that name, and it was Elspeth. And Elsie is actually a shortened name of that pet name. So it's kind of like, you know, like you have the original name and then you have another name underneath it, and then you have a shortened version of that pet name. And the meaning of it is pledged to God, and I think that that is so beautiful and would be a really fitting name for a little girl that her parents are raising up to love the Lord. Number 3 is Betty. Betty, I feel like I don't know, like I feel like it wasn't a really well-liked name when I was growing up. Betty just seemed so old-fashioned. Don't get me wrong, there are some old-fashioned names that I love, and then there are some that I'm like, yeah, I hope that never comes back in style. No offense to anybody if you have a name that is really old-fashioned, but that's just me. Betty, I think, is really sweet. I love names with double T's in them because my name is Brittany and it's spelled B-R-I-T-T-A-N-Y, which is really different for the name Brittany, but Betty also has 2 T's and it has a Y at the end, which is just like my name. I think I even had a doll named Betty when I was a little girl, but she was a little rag doll. Then the origin of the name is from the Hebrew and English, and it means oath of God because it's actually a shortened form of Elizabeth. Now Betty could also be used as a shortened form for other names as well, such as, I'm sure that there are other names that it could be used as a shortened form for, but I literally cannot think of anything right now. Probably probably just Elizabeth. Let's stick with that. Here's another really sweet one, Minnie. Number 4, Minnie. It makes me think of Minnie Mouse. I think Minnie Mouse is really sweet. And I just think of like a little girl from, I don't know, I envision a little girl with little bows in her hair, little plaid bows from the 1940s when I think of the name Minnie. I just think that it's so sweet. It obviously has other meanings like tiny, but the actual spelling of it means of the mind and intellect. And it can also mean of the sea or bitter. So now looking at the meanings of names, when a name has a negative connotation, I always try to look for the redemptive part of the name, such as Bethany. There was a meaning of that name that I didn't like, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, it means, the name Bethany means house of figs. And my daughter's name is Bethany, and I've always loved that name. And I was telling one of my friends, I love the name Bethany, but I don't like that it means house of figs. Like, what is that? And she was just telling me and encouraging me that house of figs, if a house is full of figs back in Bible times and they had tons and tons of harvest, that meant that they had a plentiful year and that they were full, their house was full of the blessing. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. And it made me love the name Bethany even more. So when there's a negative connotation, I don't automatically throw a name out, such as with this one, it can mean of the sea or bitter. Now that one's a little bit more further out there. I probably would not use that name just simply because of the connotation behind it, the meaning behind it. However, it is still a very pretty name. I look at also the way that names sound. When I say it's a pretty name, I mean I like the way that they sound. Number 5 is Delia. It's from the Greek and it has a very simple meaning. It means from Delos, which was actually a Greek island where a couple of the Greek gods, little g gods, were from. It can also mean, if you derive it from the Hebrew language, it can also mean delicate. That's another one because I believe in one true God. I probably wouldn't name my child that, but I do love the way that the name sounds. Number 6 on my list is Estelle, and Estelle means star. It's actually from the Latin, and I just love the way that it sounds. It's just so dainty and pretty. Estelle would be a great middle name or a great first name. Honestly, any of these could be used as middle names or first names. I just feel that it's such a pretty and bright name. I had a friend who also had a name which meant star growing up in California. She was my neighbor and her name was Shada. We lost touch for quite some years, but I got reconnected with her and her family a few years back when I lived in France. And anyways, that just kind of like a little memory thing just happened in my brain. I connected the dots because Estelle means star as well. Number 7 on my list is Blythe. I actually know a little girl named Blythe, and she is absolutely, whenever I've seen her, I don't know her well, she's an acquaintance, but whenever I've seen her running around our church, she just looks so happy and cheerful, and that is the absolute meaning of this name. It means cheerful and joyous and pleasant. It's from the Old English, and it's spelled in such a beautiful way. I love names that start with B, and of course I'm probably biased because my first name is Brittany, my firstborn is Bethany, but I think B names are very pretty as well. Number 8 is Colette. Colette is from French origin and it means people of victory, and this is absolutely a name that I would definitely use because I'm all about having names that are powerful and have powerful meanings behind them. We actually go to a church named Victory, and I absolutely love the meaning of that name. Number 9 is very similar in the sound to, or in letters, I guess, and correlates a little bit to Colette, and it's Colleen. I love the name Colleen, and I always have because of Dr. Quinn. And one of the main characters' name was Colleen. I might be dating myself a little bit with that, but it is an Irish name from the Gaelic, and it actually means women and girls. Hold on, Adeline just woke up from her nap. I'm gonna go get her real quick and I'll come right back to the video. But there's an interesting meaning to this name, and because of it, I would never ever use this name on any of my daughters. I'm back. Addie is coloring and doing stickers, so if you hear her in the background, she's over there having some fun. But I actually left you on quite the cliffhanger. This was the one that I was most surprised by because I actually love this name, And this is why you should look up the meanings of names before you name your children, because I absolutely love this name and I do not like the meaning of it. It means, it's a generic name for women and girls, but the deeper meaning of it is it's another word in Gaelic for wench. Yes, I was quite shocked. And it's such a bummer because I've always liked that name and I will never ever use it, but yeah, that's the meaning of Colleen. So such a bummer. Number 10 is Eloise, and this is the final one on my list. Eloise is such a pretty name. It is derived from French, and I'm partial to French names. Adeline is actually a French name as well, and I just love how they sound. So Eloise, or Eloise if you wanted to say it in French. It also has another meaning from the Greek origins, but in French it means healthy one, and from the Greek origin it means sun, and that is a very pretty and bright name as well. It makes me think of a little bit of Estelle. It's also an E name. So anyways, those are all the names that I have on my list, and I absolutely love all of them. These are very pretty vintage baby names, baby girl names in particular, and I hope that you're able to find one to suit your needs for if you're having a baby girl. I would love to know what you've chosen to name your child, or what you've named your kids, in the comment section down below, and we can talk about baby names. Also, if you love anything to do with motherhood, and if you're passionate like me about birth and home birth, you can go watch my supernatural home birth that I had a couple months ago with my son Gabriel. It's quite the experience. I highly recommend that video. It's currently at like 38,000 views, and I just still can't even believe it. It seems so surreal to me, and it's just such a blessing to hear all the women who have told me that they've changed their minds about having kids since watching that video and hearing my story. So, but anyways, I wanted to say thank you for watching this video, and I will see you very soon in another video. I have a few day in the lives coming up soon. That'll be in my next video, and lots of exciting stuff happening in our family. So love you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.
Sunrise in West Virginia, sleep talking on the front porch.